What is up, Yugi fam? Hope you guys are having an amazing day, having a beautiful day, a phenomenal day. And if you aren't, well, God woke you up to see another day. We're into a very interesting video today. We're going to be talking about hand traps that I deemed, in my opinion, valuable in this next format. Now, in terms of a format, what format do you mean? We're talking the next format in the next month. We're talking the K9 Vanquish Soul format. Now, with that being said, the criteria of these hand traps will consist what the hand trap do in the other decks that they're in, and what the other, and also what the hand traps do in DM itself. Without further ado, let's jump on into this video. Starting off with two hand traps that I don't have my hands on. Hey, yo, editor, do me a favor. Put it right here. Thank you, editor. You're the best. So these two cards right here are the formatted hand traps of this format. We have Molcharmy Furlos and Molcharmy Perlilia. Two very dominant hand traps, may I add, at the event of the NAWCQ. What's my opinion on these cards, you may ask? Well, the ability to be able to, I don't know, draw cards while your opponent special summons from the extra deck and main deck, I think it's pretty powerful. But you know what's even more powerful, or just as powerful, is being able to special summon from the hand or normal summon from the hand. I'm gonna put Farlos. It's a solid S tier. And then for Molcharmy, the other one, we're going to put that one at A tier. And then for the cat, slide it in. There you go. We're going to put that cat at a solid C tier. On to the next hand trap. Starting off with the hand trap that, well, quite frankly, didn't start at all. But in terms of dominance, started it all. We're looking at Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, what this card does, if you guys don't remember, this card can stop your opponent from adding card from deck to hand, special summoning from the deck, and sending a card from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use one of these cards once per turn. Now, I will say this. In terms of what Ash can do by itself, I think Ash is an amazing card. Against cards like Track, against cards like Ryzen, against cards of anything that likes to add from the deck to the hand. I mean, it's really, really good. Especially cards that can be special summoned from the deck. I get this card up there with the S tiers. I think it still keeps up with the other hand traps. You put it up there, argue with your mama. On to the next hand trap. All right, big dogs. For this card right here, we have Infinite Impermanence. This card right here, I personally think, in my humble opinion, it got slightly weaker in terms of how powerful it once was a few years back. But this card, nonetheless, still shows out, and it shows out pretty dang good. I'm going to put this hand trap, basically what this hand trap does, is if I set this hand trap in my back row and ask, let's say this is the monster on my opponent's side of the field, I can negate the monster effect, and then I can negate the back row behind it. So spells and traps, if anyone wants to activate spells and traps back there, they can, in that column at least. We're gonna put this hand trap in S tier though. I see nothing wrong with putting this hand trap in S tier. Let's continue. Don't have my effect mailers because I forgot I gave it to one of my homeboys. I gotta get some hand traps of effect mailers. Talking of effect mailers, basically what this card does is during your opponent's turn, you can discard this card from your hand and negate one card, target one card in the field and negate one monster on the field that is your opponent's field and negate that effect. I think effect mailers pretty mid in terms of what it used to be. And I'll get to the whole, what does these hand traps do in DM? I didn't forget. In terms of what Effect Veiler can do in this format currently, I think it's pretty okay. I'll put this card in B tier. I don't think it really does too much, in my honest opinion. On to the next hand trap. And before we get into the next hand traps, every 5 hand traps I reveal to you guys, I will tell you where those hand traps go in terms of DM. Let's start off with Foralos. I hope I'm saying that name right. That card is S tier in DM. Perlilia, S tier in DM. Ash, Imperm, and Imperm, S tier in DM. And in terms of Effect Veiler, I put that in a solid A tier in DM. I think those cards are considered gold miners for DM. You could argue that Perlilia is better than the other Molcharmy. And then the Meow one, you can side that one. That one's a C tier. On to the next hand trap. We're going to get straight into it. We're going to hit you with 2 hand traps that I think are going to still be solid in the next format. We got Droll and Artifact Lancia. 1 card prevents your opponent from banishing for the rest of the turn during his turn. And Droll and Lockbird, if your opponent adds anything from the deck to hand, neither player can add from their deck for the rest of the turn in any way. I have Droll being slightly under, actually, I have them both being an A tier. Now that I think about it. Both have similar effectiveness. 1 kills Malice, and 1 kills, I don't know, Vanquish Soul, almost. I mean, this kills 90% of decks in the game. In terms of running these cards in DM, I think this card is A tier. I think this card is S tier in DM. On to the next 2 hand traps. Let's get the elephants out the room. Your DD Crow and your Ghost Bell. I personally think Ghost Bell is very, 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 very good. You could argue that Ghost Bell is probably the 3rd best hand trap in the format. Yeah, you could argue that. Easily a top 5 hand trap in the format. I'll put Ghost Bell in S tier. Very strong S tier. This card basically prevents your opponent. And in DM, S tier for sure. You should main it. This card prevents your opponent from banishing cards from the graveyard. It also prevents special a monster from the graveyard. It also prevents adding the card from the graveyard to hand, deck, or extra deck. So recycling, doing a whole Requiem effect to put cards from the graveyard back into your extra deck. I mean, it does a lot. It gets into Fiendsmith pretty heavy. At least deep in their combos. And DD Crow, we'll put this in a solid B tier. It's not a bad hand trap. I just don't think it's a bestial. And it doesn't add extra value. On to the next hand traps. Alright, time to let the cat out the bag. You are by yourself, not being featured with anybody else because you are in your own tier. Nibiru the Primal Being will be put in B tier. Don't ask me why. I think Nibiru's gonna be going to the next format very weak. Not useless, but weak. Nibiru's not going to be a game changer. It's not going to be a board breaker like it usually is. I'm not saying it won't be a board breaker altogether, or a board wiper, excuse me. Board wiper. But I think Nibiru by itself is just underwhelming in the next format. Decks can push through it like Gem Knights, K9 Vanquish, Malice can push through this, Mitsurugi Raizio can push through this. I can keep going. There's multiple decks that can push through this. Blue Eyes can push through this, actually. Funny enough. B tier for Nibiru. On to the next hand traps. Hey, 2 useless sisters. We have 1 Ghost Sister's a part of the Ghost Sister family. So we have the Ghost Reaper. I mean, she's a part of the Ghost family. But 2 Ghost Sisters. 2 uselessness. Every time your opponent special summons a card, you gain life points equal to the original attack. If you control an extra deck monster that they have, you can reveal it from your extra deck. And however many copies they have in their extra deck, you banish those cards in their extra deck with the same name. This card is not ideal in DM. This card's F tier. In a regular deck, in any deck, D tier, mainly because they can play that in their extra deck. DM players don't have room in their extra deck to run that. Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, on the other hand, is slightly better. I'm lying. F tier on both sides for the decks that other people run and decks for DM. The format's just too quick. Spooky Dogwood is just too slow. Let's just call a spade a spade. On to the next set of hand traps. These are going to be my last 2 hand traps for what I know so far. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. I think this card's pretty damn good. I think these both are mid. Both mid, by the way. Let's get this out the way. This card is from hand. Target 1 card, negate it, and if that card leaves the field, you burn them for the original attack. They take damage equal to the original attack. In any other deck, I think it's F tier. In DM, it's D tier. Yeah, I think it's just really bad. Ghost Ogre, on the other hand, can be special summoned. I'll teach you about that. I'll teach you all about that later. When a monster's on the field, activates its effect, or when a spell or trap that is already activated face up on the field, you can quick effect. You can send this card from your hand to the from your hand to the graveyard, or if this is on the field, obviously, to the graveyard. You can destroy that card. Not negate, destroy. If this card could negate and destroy, this card would be a B tier. Easily a B tier. Unfortunately, it's being held back by that. You can search this by special summoning it with Emergency Teleport during your turn to have protection for field spells and stuff like that during your turn. So let's say if they activate, let's say a continuous trap or a continuous spell to try to interrupt you, you would first card you would use is Emergency Teleport, special summon Ogre in defense, and do your combos or do whatever you want to do. Ogre is also an extra body to go into synchros, but they got rid of the generic synchros, so you can't go into generic synchros anymore. Overall, I'm speaking this card as in peak. I think this card at best is C tier. At worst, this card's like a D tier. It's not useless, not an F tier. For DM, I think it's a B tier at best, C tier at worst. This card's really good. D tier at worst, excuse me. And that will be it. Thank you all so much for watching this video and sticking around and staying in tune. If you made it this far, make sure to subscribe, turn on that bell notification, like the video, share it with a friend, or watch it with a friend. I don't know. I mean, tell them to get into Dark Magician. Get into the deck. Really great deck. Has great lore. Has amazing character designs. This is their freaking student to Dark Magician. This Dark Magician girl. I would get into the deck in my opinion. But other than that, that's all I have for today. I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys later. Peace.